Hi everyone, Pomi here. So it's been about a month since my last video using RhinoHorn in a tournament, and since then, I've learned so much more about combo making in Beyblade X thanks to you all. So in order to test that knowledge, I went ahead and signed up for a local tournament here in Kansas City, where hopefully both me and RhinoHorn can prove that we have what it takes to win once again. So let's go ahead and get started.
Alright, so with a new tournament, that means one thing. Starting off, we have RhinoHorn on 960 point. This bay is one of the newest releases for Hasbro as of recording, and it's an echo of Phoenix Wing. This means that it has a slightly different shape whilst also being a bit lighter, and while this blade is a bit lighter than Phoenix Wing, it still packs quite the punch with its shape, and with the point bit, it can easily hit really hard while still having some last second stamina, even better than that of Rush. And I kept 960 on it for the low height and burst resistance, but I also wanted to keep it because of its nice blue color scheme. The next bay in my deck is Silver Wolf. This bay is a brand new release for Takara Tomy, and has shown a ton of promise since its reveal. With both its high weight, shape, and interesting free spin gimmick, this bay could take a ton of hits from its opponent while allowing it to win through spin finishes. To go alongside the stamina, we have the free ball bit, which is the bit that came stock with Silver Wolf. This bit has comparable stamina to that of ball, while also having the same free spin gimmick with it, which allows it to not hit the extreme line as dramatically as standard bits. I also threw on the 970 ratchet to prevent that relatively high burst risk with Silver Wolf, as shown in my last video on it. This bay is very solid, and I also really wanted to use it since it's so new in the Beyblade X scene. And finally, what you all have been waiting for is my Rhino combo. For the most part, this combo is pretty much identical to what I used in my last tournament video, but there's a few things that I'd like to note. Firstly, I got a new RhinoHorn from the Tyranno Beat Random Booster set, which I really wanted for its color scheme, but also I was very happy to see that it is slightly heavier than my original RhinoHorn. Speaking of slight weight increases, today I'm using the 580 ratchet instead of the previous 560 ratchet. I really wanted to optimize RhinoHorn's weight as much as I could to help with its typical low weight, so in order to do that, I chose the heaviest ratchet at my disposal, which in this case was 580. Now I know some of you probably are thinking, Pomi, aren't higher ratchets not so good for attack types? And to that I say I don't really think RhinoHorn's performance will be affected much at all. Rhino specializes in smash attacks, so I think that it won't really be a big deal if it gets underneath the ratchets or not. But that does it for the deck. Let's go ahead and get into some matches. Before the tournament started, I was actually able to film some practice rounds with Digicap, who is a fellow member of the Kansas City Beyblade Club. We decided to put our wolf combos against each other just for fun. And it was during these matches that I had actually discovered a few things. First, I realized that I'm no longer the only one using RhinoHorn in their deck today. There's a person by the name of Super Koopa in the Discord that arrived at the event with RhinoHorn in his deck. Alongside that, I also discovered something kind of groundbreaking for me. I figured out that I haven't been launching my bay properly this entire time. Like I knew something was wrong whenever my winders ended up like this. But it wasn't until now that I realized that I was actually pulling the cord up instead of out. So with this newly found technique, or should I really just say learning how to play the actual game properly, I was able to bring my launching power up significantly and increase my bay's performance dramatically as well. At that moment, I was super excited to include my new launching form in my tournament matches. Which, speaking of, okay, so for my first match, I'm actually up against Digicap after I just got done playing with her. Her deck consisted of Silver Wolf on 970 dot, Wizard Rod on 160 ball, and Arrow Pegasus on 960 rush. This is a very challenging deck to go up against considering that all of her bays are pretty meta. So let's see how Rhino and I fare. I started with Rhino, of course, and Digicap started with her Wizard Rod. And with a devastating hit on Rod's ratchet from Rhino, I was able to take an early 2-point lead with a burst finish. By the way, the rules of this tournament are slightly different from my last tournament video, so I'll let you know the rule changes as we go, but for starters, the matches are actually 1st to 7 instead of 1st to 4. Next up was my Tyranno against her Arrow Pegasus. Sadly, my Tyranno missed its big hit with the extreme line, and it ended up self-KOing into the extreme zone, giving Digicap 3 points. Our third battle had both mine and Digicap's wolves against each other. The funny thing about this matchup is that we actually kind of know how it'll go since we practiced it before our match. But despite that, there is still a lot of luck in Beyblade, and because of that, my wolf jumped into the extreme zone once again, giving Digicap another 3 points towards her 7. I can't afford to lose another round, so I decided to put my faith into my wolf combo, which really is supposed to be the anchor of this deck. And it worked in my favor. Kind of. There's just been a lot of self KOs this match. Well, either way, that has me at 4 points and Digi at 6. Alright, next round has my Rhino against Digi's defensive wolf combo. After launching Rhino with all my strength, I nervously watch as Rhino gets some big hits against a dominant canine. However, it wasn't enough, as Wolf uses Rhino's own attack power against it to parry it into the right pocket. This sadly gives Digicap 2 more points, resulting in a loss for Rhino and I. But that's okay, because unlike the last tournament, this has a loser's bracket. So this means that Rhino and I still have a chance to win. We just can't lose another match. No pressure, right? My next match was against Chris. Today he decided to use Wizard Rod on 960 Hexa, Tyranno Roar on 360 Rush, and Phoenix Wing on 560 Point. I started with Rhino as he started with Tyranno Roar. Rhino was able to get some very powerful hits to a fault, it seems, as it gets knocked out of the top of the stadium. In a normal tournament, this actually would result in a redo, but at this event, they're actually counting knockouts from the top shelf as extreme KOs. So this means that Chris now has 3 points. The next battle has my Tyranno against Chris's Phoenix Wing. This battle was super fun to watch, and thankfully Tyranno was able to beat the bird with a spin finish. And for round 3, we have my Wolf against his Wizard Rod. After these first few high power interactions, the battle kind of just turned into a stamina one. So let's just... Yeah, there we go. And to no surprise, since Wolf is on free ball and Wizard Rod's on Hexa, we were able to pull off a spin finish due to it having a bit more stamina. After round 3 ended, we had the opportunity to reshuffle our decks. I figured my current line was pretty solid given the amount of points that I had, so I decided not to change anything at all. For the first battle of round 4, I am once again using RhinoHorn, while Chris is using his Phoenix. Here, Rhino was able to avenge itself by throwing Phoenix into the extreme zone. That now makes the score 5-3. Next battle has my Tyranno against Chris's Wizard Rod. With an explosive hit from Tyranno, it managed to throw Rod into the pocket, allowing us to get 2 more points, as well as the win. I was feeling great after that win, and I was really eager to begin my next round. This one has to be against Foehammer, aka Brian, who is actually one of the organizers for our local scene. Today he's running Silverwolf on 970 Unite, Cobalt Dragoon on 560 Elevate, and Phoenix Wing on 960 Gearball. Another very strong deck that'll be hard to compete against, especially with that left spinning Dragoon. Let's see how Rhino and I can handle it. Well, spoiler alert, this third round did not go well at all. Just watch. Round 1 has Rhino versus Wolf. Instantly, Rhino gets parried into the pocket. Alright, that's okay. Let's move on to round 2. Tyranno versus Dragoon. Boom. Another instant parry, but this time into the extreme zone. That means Brian now has 5 points and the match has hardly even started. Round 3 was, well, this one was actually a real match. My Wolf against his Phoenix. This is once again a more favorable matchup for Wolf since he has more stamina on free ball. But right when I thought things were starting to go well, round 4 had my Tyranno slapped into the pocket by Brian's Phoenix, giving him enough points to win the match. Should I have reshuffled into Wolf instead of Tyranno? Should I have stayed strong and used Rhino again? None of that matters, and I'll never know now. And while it did hurt in the moment, I can't help but feel optimistic looking back. I mean, look at the bracket. I managed to get top 8 in the tourney using RhinoHorn as my main, and... Wait a second. Is that Super Koopa at the top of the bracket? Yeah, that's right. Koopa and his RhinoHorn on 360 Taper did so well that he managed to get top 3 with it. Seeing a person so successful with Rhino has really inspired me to keep trying with it because now I know it's really possible. And given how many of you are suggesting a certain deck, I think I know what I'll be using in next month's tournament. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.